Good morning, everyone. So, yesterday we discussed about form. Yesterday we changed the classroom code. If anyone missed yesterday's, please contact your admin. He will share your classroom code. So, yesterday who were not in the class, you contact admin to get the class codes. Right. So, yesterday we learned about working with forms and we learned about Formic and Yup library for validation, Formic components in all the ways how to work with forms we learned. Now the concept I asked you to try and understand is about React hook form. Have you seen? Huh? So you visited that website. So you tried it practically. I asked you to explore it by yourself now. Have you tried? No. Practically, how to use this third party. Anybody done successfully a form? Anyone tried creating a complete form with validation successfully? So I will show you how to explore and learn about a library. What are the basics of doing that? In so many occasions, we will learn it. Later, while learning material UI also, we will see that. As a C, for learning technologies, you have two important concepts. As a learner, you can learn. As a developer, you can learn. Learner developer resources are different. Usually, when you want to know about a topic and when you want to learn about any concept, whether you have to go to learning resources or developer resources are important. That means learning resources are different. Suppose you people want to learn Java, HTML, .NET, all these technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. If you are visiting W3 schools, that is wrong. W3 schools is not for developers. It is for learners. It is for learners, not for developers. Developers never visit W3 schools, tutorial points, all these things. Developer resources are different. Developers always visit the official sites. As I showed you, for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you have MDN, Mozilla Developers Network. So HTML, WG, and others MDN. Here, the key point is there will be an official website for every library. They have their official website. Get all the information from that website. How to get also important. See. So you want to learn about this hook form. So then the first thing is when you visit those websites. So here reacthookform.com. It is the official website. This is the official website. When you visit this website, how to explore this website? Every time, remember to know about about how to install and set up a library, always what you have to do, you have to use the option get started. Get started is one option you will find in official websites of any library, and this will tell you how to set up and install. So this is the first basic. Get started is the location where you will know about how to set up and install any library. Later, some more libraries also I will show you. So first point, you need to click this get started, check where it is. There you will get information about how to set up this library. So you see, when you open this, there is get started now. Get started, it will show how to set up and install. It will show completely how to set up and install this library. You can see it is going to display the library. You see it is showing how to install the library, how to set up the library and everything. So setting up installation, first point you will get from get started. Don't continue here. Here only for understanding the setup and installation. If you continue this, you will be confused. This is only to understand how to set up. Once you do this, if you want to know about a library as a developer, what you have to do is, when you get started, you will learn about installing. And to know about every library, what you have to do is, first you have to check about API. Go to API of any library to know and to explore everything provided by them. Go to API of any library to explore everything provided by them. What all facilities they give, how they work, everything will be in API. Every developer have to go to this API. So don't continue in get started. You will be confused. You will never understand what is happening, because that is for get started only for setup. Click on get started. It will teach you how to install, how to set up that library. Leave it there. Don't continue there, because you see, if you continue in the get started, it will confuse you with a lot of ready-made examples immediately. Without knowing what example I should try here, without knowing anything, what you will try, this is not the correct way to continue. You will see at the top there is API. Every library have an API. They will provide API. When you go to API, you see this is the overview. Every library related overview will be in API. Here they will provide the complete facilities they have. That means, what if I ask you what React hook form provides? So then, till now what you prepared yesterday, what hook form provides? Hook form provides lot of hooks for handling forms. Not only one hook, it will provide lot of hooks for handling the forms. And where you will get that information, not in the first page, second page, you will get that information in API. See, when I go to API, see, these are all the hooks they have. That means You explored by yourself what you found only use form, but there are so many. That means how do you know what all resources they have, what all services they provide, what all functionalities they give? That information you will get completely from which location? API. So first, if you go to API, you will understand what they have. They have use form, they have use controller, use form context, use watch, use form state, use field array, create form control. These are important. And remember, that means these are all the resources they give. And they have highlight also. For which purpose use form is, for which purpose controller, which purpose context, for which purpose watch. And observe whenever they provide, if they give that beta, beta means it is still not ready. It is still not ready. That means don't try this to implement in a project. Try this as a developer to test what is coming in future. But don't implement this in projects. But you can try because it is beta. You know how software versions are released? Software versions, how they are released? Actually, software versions are released. A release history will be there. So, software release history, I will show you. Software version release history will be like this. This is the software version release history. Whenever a software is released, they are released in this order. First, they will release pre-alpha version. Pre-alpha, pre-alpha 1, pre-alpha 2, pre-alpha 3. After that, alpha, then beta. Then RC. RC is release candidate, RC1, RC2, RC3. Then RTM, RTM 1, 2, 3. After that, GA. Once any software is GA, then you can use in projects. Otherwise, you cannot. Before it is GA, it is only for trials. It is not for real implementation. It is only for trials. It is not for real implementation. That means what? You can trial, you can test, you can find out any issues are there. If any issues are there, you report them. They will tell you the solution or they find a solution. Companies will start using any software from which version? GA. GA is general availability. Any software in the world have to follow this cycle. This is software version release cycle. Java, .NET, Python, PHP, everybody. They have to follow this order. And it is currently in beta. Beta means still there is so much to go. After beta, RC, RTM, after RTM, then GA, then we can try that. But before that, you can just test it. You can check what they are trying to do, what new things they are experimenting. You can understand them because they give the details that, but they are not recommended to use in any project, right? So actually you go to API and you will get all the information here. Now here, what is the concept? You see, which one you have to use here? Is this use form or use controller? Which one suits you? For that, first you need to understand what you are developing. Actually, use controller, it is for controlled components. Till now we haven't learned controlled components. Next topic is that we are going to learn controlled components. If we are learning controlled components, then this is better. Our concept is not controlled components. Our concept is what you see next one. It is say access your form methods and properties from nested components. Nested components already we learned. Nested component means a component inside another component. We designed a Netflix like, right? So, but in that components also by using which one? Use form. In that use form. So a developer need to first understand what is its purpose? Does it suits us? The current situation suits or not? And you see, subscribe to individual form input changes without impacting root component renders. This is also not for us. Why? Because this is for people who already have a form. If they have a form, you can subscribe to the form so that it can give all the information about the form. So this is also not the starting for us. So use form state. It is for updates and isolating. This is also for the people who already have a form. So use dynamically generated fields, adding fields, removing fields, CRUD operations means insert, update, delete like operations. This is also for the people who already have a form. That means in all these all doesn't suit us. These are for people who already have a form, designed a form. If already you have a form, you can control the form, you can control the state in the form, you can watch the form, you can identify how it is rendering, you can add, remove fields into the form. That means what is the starting point for us? Starting point for us is use form. That means a powerful custom hook to validate your form with minimal renders. So now what you do, you click on this use form, then it will get you the information. Here also the point is how to learn about it. That means how to know about it. Actually, whenever you have to understand about this use form, you see when I scroll, this is the use form have a lot of details. In use form, again you can see lot of details are present. So generally when you explore the use form, first what you need to know is the basic syntax of this use form. What is the purpose? So it is used for managing forms. So what is the first thing you have to do is don't try to read everything. Time waste. First you need to understand the syntax of it. So where you will find the syntax, you don't try to read all these. They are not needed for you in every situation. Directly go to the syntax of it. The syntax is this. In this syntax, you see generally in every syntax, first what they do, they will give all the basic requirements. And what you have to do, come to the syntax. In the syntax, what properties they have given, those properties are above. Don't start reading from top. First go to the syntax, see in the syntax what properties they given. That properties information is given here. For which purpose, which property is used. That means you should not simply follow the order of reading. You will never understand a library. You will never understand the library. First go to the syntax, see in the syntax what are the basic requirements and what those basic requirements are about. That information is mentioned above, you have to read them. That is the way how you need to understand a library. If you start reading continuously page by page, you can never understand a library. You can never handle. That is the reason usually people attend courses. You join a course. Actually, suppose somebody is training you a technology, Angular, React, Java. Who trained them? Somebody is training you a technology. Who trained them? So, for example, suppose means because we are here from several years. So, when you go to .NET, Java, all these kind of technologies, suppose in Hyderabad, Amirpet, .NET and Java like technologies, because seniors are there from 20-25 years, they are training technologies. From those seniors, some people learn, they join in companies, work as developers, again they come as trainers. That means, do you know your Java, your .NET or your some technology trainers who are training them? They are our students. Our students, they learned from us and they now become trainers. That means from 20-25 years we are training. So we are the people who introduced those technologies into market. That means we are there, we are training before Google born. And Angular, React like technologies we have seen born. That means we are training people on technologies before React born. Before Angular born. Before Angular, React, do you know which were used very much? Before Angular, React, we have so many technologies like Backbone.js. Backbone.js. We have like Ember.js. We have like Knockout.js. Before these born, because React and Angular came in 2014, 2010. Their evolution started from 2014, 2010. Right? So we are training people from so many years. Before Angular, React born, we are training. So that means some people you also not born at that time. When we started training, some of you people still not born. Right? We have seen all these technologies born. That means developers, what they do, they explore a technology by themselves, they learn technology by themselves, and they train. That means how any trainer trains a technology. That means React.js came into market. When React.js came into market, nobody knows. Then what trainer have to do? We have to learn by ourselves. We have to learn by ourselves and we need to train you. Who trains us? Will React team will come here and train us? No. We have to learn by ourselves and we need to train. Some Java new version comes, the trainer have to learn the new version and he will train you. He will not join any course from anybody. That means, see, a serious software engineer need not to join a course. He can learn a technology by himself. Actually, a serious software engineer, skilled professional, will never join a course. He can learn a technology by himself if he have good skills of software. But sometimes problem is learning by ourselves is difficult. It takes time. Then even I have skill of learning, I can learn. I will take course. Why? Because it will save my time. I don't have much time to explore. Many people join because they have skills, but they don't have much time to explore by themselves. Then what they do? They join a course, somebody will guide and they will easily understand. they don't need to put much efforts, but they don't need a trainer. A senior software engineer don't need a trainer. He can learn a technology by himself. But to learn a technology, it's not easy, right? You have to explore a lot. And these days it is very difficult. Why? Because see, a person when he learns a technology and training you, he cannot misguide you now. You are also watching internet, you are also watching different tutorials. They can't misguide you. That means they have to tell you exactly what it is. They cannot misguide you because you are also exploring simultaneously. That means if you have little bit good skills in understanding library, nobody needs to teach you. You can learn by yourself technologies. But it is little difficult at learning level, beginning level. That's the reason you need some guidance. Because the problem is people don't know the correct order, how to explore. They get confused in the library. So you follow this basic order as a learner. First thing, what you done, you go to the API, it will explore everything provided by them. After that, next step, what you have to do, you have to identify the required service for your project. And after that, what you have to do is explore details of required service. And in that, what you have to do is first get to know about the definition. So it's features. Its features. After that, it's a syntax. It's a syntax. So here, important is syntax provides all properties and methods required. So now you can explore the purpose of every method and property. So you must know about its type, return type, and basic syntax. These are the things you should remember. That means how you can easily explore any library, how you can save your time without wasting in reading everything. These are the key basic things you have to follow, right? So usually what people do is directly go to one example and copy that example and try that example. That will always not good. Why? Because that example they have given in their main screen may not suit your requirement, because every requirement doesn't need the same thing. So different requirements, different. So you need to understand all this process. You need to understand all this process. So go to APIs. First go to get started. After that, go to API. In API, identify which one is needed for your requirement. Explore it. Details will come. First read the definition, what it is. Then go to its syntax. In the syntax, it will provide all methods it is using. Then explore the methods and properties it have. Which one, for which purpose, how to write it, what data type it takes. You can understand everything. So this is the basic of exploring any third-party library. React people should get used to this, because unfortunately the companies that use React, Java, .NET people everywhere, all UI technologies, These days, React, Angular very much used everywhere. They don't use the same library. They have their own libraries also. That means some companies build their own libraries for their projects. And they give a documentation about the library. You have to explore. You have to learn about it and use it. You will not able to find anywhere about that library in Google or YouTube because that is built by them for their own purpose. It's not globally available. You will not get any help. That's the reason you should learn how to explore this. Okay, now let's see how to implement this Formic hook form library. So let's see example here. So implementing hook form. Okay, yesterday you learned about it, na? Its website. Can you tell me the features? What features they give about hook form? Which is not there in Formic. Features means already you learned Formic. What different you found here? Now, validations. What features you found here? What are the features of this hook form? Because you are trying to use a library, first you should know what are its features. Because why you are choosing hook form over Formic? That is the first question asked in interview. Already there is Formic, then why to use hook form? Already there is jQuery, Ajax, Fetch, then why to use Axios? I told you features now. Differences. Huh? No? No. I can't get you, right? Input. Validation. Huh? Validation is there in YEP also. Na? You gone through that website? Huh? What one of the main feature here is one of the main concept is so it provides various hooks to handle form and its state. Actually, your Formic have only one hook which will handle the form. But Formic React hook form have so many hooks. For different purpose, different hooks. Just now you learnt, I showed you in the API. One hook is use form to create a form. Use controller to handle controlled forms. Controlled forms next level you will learn. It have use watch. It have use state. That means actually to maintain state. Use array to add elements, remove elements dynamically. That means it provides more hooks when compared to Formic for handling different stages of form, more hooks. So Formic have a limited set of hooks. That hook form is completely having so many hooks to handle the forms. Adding elements, removing elements, accessing elements from just now you saw nested components. From nested components accessing forms, they have more facilities. Another important is it is lightweight. It is lightweight. Why it is lightweight? Because it uses all default HTML validations. It uses all default HTML validations. In HTML required, in HTML min length, in HTML pattern, like attributes are there, it uses them. If any third party is using an additional library, yesterday you saw Yup. Yup is using what required, Yup is using what min max. They are external services. From external, a function is implemented and used. It will take time. From internal, something is working. It is fast. One of the main claim they do is they say that we are lightweight than other forms. We are lightweight than other forms. Why they are lightweight? Other forms have to depend on third party. For example, Formic. Formic is a third party, but validation another third party. And who is that? Yup is another third party. But these Formic people say that without many third parties, validation we will do with just HTML itself. HTML have validations. We will use those validations for validating. So it is lightweight and it is faster when compared to the other forms. That means it is not just lightweight, it is lightweight and faster. So it uses all default HTML validations. That makes actually lightweight and faster. Another important feature is actually it is loosely coupled. It is loosely coupled and extensible. Because when you read everything about it, it is loosely coupled and extensible. Loosely coupled and extensible means it is easy to add new features, easy to remove the features from a form. You saw they have given a array, use array. What is that array is? It allows you to add elements into form, remove elements from the form dynamically. That is a good feature actually. That makes the form loosely coupled and extensible. That means what? Loosely coupled extensible means actually you have a form. In this form, suppose I will give one example, like you are using upload photo. Upload some photo. For uploading photo, they given one element. You want to upload 2 photos. Then you know some websites what they do. They give a simple word like more. Am I right? When you click more, one more control will come. That means a new control is added to your form. How to add a new control? Actually in JavaScript we know. Create element, append element. I already showed you na. General JavaScript have a lengthy process of doing that. But these people have a simple array. Using that array, you know, array means it will allow to simply push a new element, splice any element. Easy to add elements, remove elements, and customize the form. That is the major facility they provide. But drawback is also there. What is drawback? So many people are using Formic. They are not using hook form. That means obviously there may be some issue also. What is that? Have you found any issue? Usually website will not tell that we are bad. Right? Java technology will not teach you that Java is bad. Always till you die, you will be with only one point. My technology is great. My technology is genius than others. You will not agree other technologies. Na? That is your mindset. That means every website says we are great. Nobody tells any issues about it. But there will be certain issues when we are using. Any drawbacks you found? If you followed our class clearly, what I explained clearly, then you can spot a problem here. What is that problem? Hook form completely uses only hooks. Is it a problem? Hook form completely depends only on hooks. Is it a problem? Huh? What problem? You cannot use in class components. Remember, na? Hooks cannot be used in class components. It completely depends on hooks. Then in any React project, if they are working with class components, they cannot use this form. Because hooks are not allowed in class components. Hooks are allowed in only function components. It is completely depending on hooks. And you cannot use in all type of components. It is limited only for function components. You cannot use for class. Formic we can use in both. We have function components as well as class components. These are some important things. That means what are limitations? So it completely depends on hooks. Hooks are allowed only in function components. Hence, it is not good for class components. Not good for class components. Another point is HTML validations are not enough for handling all type of validations. HTML validations are, because they are using HTML validation. HTML validations are limited. For example, in HTML, email is there. And what that email is, it's not a proper email. It will just verify @ is there or not. Then that doesn't suit my requirement. Right? So that means it have limited validations. Then again, I need to depend on custom. Anyhow, that is a problem everywhere also. But Formic have their own services. Email have a proper email service. They don't use HTML validation. HTML validations are not great every time. I already told you now no validate. Remember that? No validate is to suppress the default validations because they don't suit our requirements every time. And we can use our own validation. These are the advantages and drawbacks. So you cannot blindly use a library. You have to know its issues, why they are not good, in which situation they cannot work, because based on that we have to implement. So can I use in some places hook form, in some places Formic? Yes, there is no problem. You can use different libraries for different components. It doesn't matter, right? So this is the features. Okay, first you need to understand the features. So these are the features and these are the limitations about the hook form. Okay, now how to install and set up the form? Let's see. So install hook form library. You saw it, how to install? npm install React hook form and save. Obviously, they will not give save every time, but you need to put that save. It is very important. If you don't give save, what happens is later when you install another library, some libraries will reset your node modules. When they reset the node modules, some previously installed libraries are deleted. That should not happen. So we have to save. After that, second, let's do this now in our project. So our application is this. Okay, let's install it. So npm, npm install react hook form and save. Okay, once the hook form is installed, how to implement this? Let's see. I will add a new component. In the components, hook form demo. Okay. Hook form demo JSX and export function some hook form demo. Okay. And just we'll keep a container fluid. Okay. So let's keep some register user and we keep in the startup. This is hook form demo. So that is the hook form demo. That's fine. Once you install, what is the second step? We need to configure the form. So actually, hook form library provides various hooks. So in the API, you will find them all important hooks like use form, use controller, use watch. So what else? Use form context. It is use field array, use field array. All these are this hook form related important. Some are still under development like create form control. So this is actually the beta. Means still it is under development. Still it has to go long to become GA, general available. So there are so many, and to configure the form you need this. So you can configure a form and validations by using use form. We can use this hook. So first what you have to do, import which one? Use form from where? React hook form. You have to import that use form. You need to know which one to import. That is also important because sometimes your VS Code will not help you, or sometimes you use different editors where automatic importing will not happen. Then actually in VS Code, what is advantage? You write use form, it will import it automatically. But in many editors, it will not happen. What you have to do, first import and then use. Okay, how to configure a form? What is, can you tell what use form is returning? Use form returns three elements, three properties. Use form returns three properties: the form name, form submit, and form errors. Use form returns three basic elements. So the form state, another one, form submit, and form errors. Form errors. Actually, use form is going to return three. So you have to configure the form. Means how do you import it? You see the use form. When you go here, you will see the syntax here. This is use form. This is default values. What default values it is having. What it is returning. You see, this is the syntax of configuring it. This is using it. This is the syntax of how to bind with the text boxes, how to find the errors, field errors, everything it is showing. But use form have to return something, na? Right? What it is returning, what use form is returning. You will see the syntax here. That means it is going to return here. What use form is returning? It is returning to, actually use form returns three options. What are those three elements use form is returning? So you have a constant. We have constant, three options. One is form name. Another one is handle submit. Another one is form state. Form state is again returning errors. It is returning errors is equal to use form. Use form is going to return three: the form name and submit and the errors. These are the three basic details a form actually returns. So what is the form name and what it should, which function it should execute on submit, and where to store the errors of form. Form errors are stored in which object? Errors. In errors object, all the errors are stored. So here you have three details. Form name. Form name is, it refers to the form. And handle submit. Actually, it refers to the function to execute on submit. And form state, actually it returns errors object that contains field errors. All field errors are defined there. The form name and submit and form state. So what you have to do is, next step, you have to write a function for submit. So we have constant, what is it? Submit is equal to, it is a function, it will collect the values. After collecting the values, it will do some functionality. That means console.log, what it will do? It will submit all the values. That means you are creating a submit function. This submit function will collect the values from the form and it will post the values to your server, API, anywhere you want. That means you need a function for submit. That function will collect all the form values and it will do whatever you want with those values. So now this must be used by the form. It must be used by the form. So how to handle this? That means we need to configure a form. Form have what? On submit. On submit, it will use handle submit. This handle submit uses a function called what? Submit. Understood? That means this handle submit have to use this submit function. And when this handle submit should fire up when user submits the form. When user submits the form, it should execute handle submit. Handle submit will execute the submit function. And what submit function will do? Collect all the form data and pass the data here. We have to access the form data and use it here. That is the process how it manages. That means it will configure a form on submit. Now, how to collect the data from elements? You can access data from elements by using hook form. Hook form have a spread operator. By using hook form spread operator. Hook form have a spread operator. By using that, you can access the data. How do you do that? Suppose we have a element, input type is as what? Text. Name is some name. How to handle this? How we can collect the data from here? To collect the data from here, you need a binding expression. In that dot dot dot, what is it? Form name. For which field it should work? Field name. Field name is what? Name. And it requires validators. Validations you have to define. What validations you need to configure. That means the form name and for which field it should handle, form name and the field name. This is the field name. And what validations you want for the field. Actually here validations. So here like required, like min length, like what max length, like what pattern, like email, like URL. These are all the validations it have. These are usually HTML validation. In HTML you learn form validation. In HTML you learned about all these fields. When you learned about text box, passwords, you learned about their attributes now. What are the attributes you have for text box? So many. ID, name, class, read only, disabled, size, value, list, required min length, max length, placeholder, autofocus. You learn now? So in that validation attributes are present, like required min length, max length, pattern, all these are validation attributes. You can use those validations. So this is how you design a form. Okay, next step, how to handle the errors. First up to this we will design. Let's go here. What we need to do. In this we need to create first we need to configure. So you have to import. You have to import what? Use form from React hook form. Okay, then we need a constant. It requires 3 objects, 3 properties. One is form name. Form name you can give register, login, any form name. Handle, submit. Another one, form state. Form state uses an object. It is what? Errors is equal to use form. That's how you configure the form. And you need a submit function. Constant submit function should collect the values and it should post the values. Console.log what? Values. We need to design a form now. This form should use on submit. What it has to do, handle submit. It will use which function? Submit. When form is valid, it will submit all this. By default, it is having validation also. That means actually it have a condition. What is the condition is it will submit the form data on valid. When form is valid, then it will submit. Otherwise, it will not submit. Inbuilt that logic is written. You can see that handle submit. So you can see handle submit. It is using this submit the field values. But observe here, it is going to submit on valid. When it is valid, then only it will submit. And see the interesting point. It is promise. Means what? Default, it is an asynchronous method. So in next, when we are designing example, I will show asynchronous methods also. Default, it is an asynchronous method. That means it will execute asynchronously. Promises are what? Asynchronous. So it is a JavaScript promise. By default, they are all asynchronous methods. So now here we will create a data list, data term, username, and we have a text box. Input type is text, and we have a name called what? Username. And how do you bind that? So you have to bind dot dot dot. What is it? Register field name. Field name is what? Username. And options. What are the options? Required. Required is a boolean. We have to set it true. We have like min length. Min length is what? Some number. Min length is 4. It will not have error messages. Actually, these are HTML validations. These are HTML validations. Like this, you can define multiple. Suppose I will keep here mobile. You can add other fields also. Input type is equal to text. Okay. Name is actually mobile. And it needs register. Field name is what? Mobile. And what are the attributes required? Required is what? True. Another one, it uses a pattern. Pattern uses a regular expression /+91 /d 10 digits like this. Pattern always written in double slash. It is pattern always enclosed in double slash. So now we are defining the fields and we have form with a button and button type as what? Submit, and the value is register. Now how to show the errors? These forms are having validations. How do we show the error messages? So to display error messages, actually errors are handled by using errors object. By using errors object. So syntactically, errors dot field name dot type is equal to error type. You have to compare with the error type. That's how we access the error. So we need to access the error in this way. Here one more point is that, so according to the requirements, you need to use, actually this returns true or false. This expression is a Boolean expression. Obviously, because you are using triple equal means comparison, it is a Boolean. It will return true or false. If it is true, what should happen? False, what should happen? You have to write a condition. Let's see higher. So what are the errors we are expecting from username? From username, whatever errors are expected, we will put here text danger. Here we will capture the errors. How to access the errors? Here, condition. If true, what should happen? If false, what should happen? So you write a ternary operator. Ternary operator, what is the condition? Condition is what? Errors. Dot field name. Field name is what? Username. Username dot what? Type. Type. What is the error type? If error type is required. If the username error type is required, then what should happen? Question mark. Put some message, or I will put a span. In a span, I will put a message. What is it? Username what? Required. Otherwise, colon. You put a span which is empty, nothing inside. That is how we write the condition. Actually, you can add multiple conditions because here two conditions are required. Na? One condition is required. And here one more option is there. I will tell you how we configure and define that. This is required. Another is min length. Na? How do you verify both of them? That means actually you can have multiple validations. You can check multiple validations. This is one expression and we can have another expression. How you add multiple expressions? You can use double ampersand. And what is the second expression? Second expression is what? Errors. Second expression is errors dot what? Username dot what? Type. What is the type? Type is min length. Huh? Min length. If it is min length, question mark. What is the span? Name to short. Otherwise span. In the span, what I want here is empty. That means you are having two errors. One is required error. Another one is what? This one. That means both should match. If you want any one should match, then you can use or. Here both should match. Both should satisfy. Similarly, you need to define here. Here one more problem is there. Actually, if they are not entering any name, required will return null. Required will return null. If they are not entering any name, required will return null. And what they have done is, actually in later TypeScript you will learn. In advanced JavaScript also you have null coalescing operators are there. Later I will explain in TypeScript, we will discuss that. Actual point is, suppose you are expecting some value. Suppose var some name. I am expecting from prompt. What prompt can return? Actually, prompt can return a string or it can return a null. If prompt is cancelled, it will return null. If prompt is not cancelled, it will return what? String. If prompt is cancelled, it will return null. If prompt is not cancelled and it has some value, it will return string. So before it is returning string, it may be null. Na? That means it can be nullable also. And generally nullables are defined with a question mark. That means question mark indicates that before required, it is nullable. After required, that means it is expecting some value. These are new nullable types. Nullable types. In modern JavaScript and TypeScript, in TypeScript you will learn. We will learn about TypeScript. There you will learn nullable types, how to handle them. Actually, what is the nullable type means? Means it is expecting null or it is expecting some value. If required is not satisfied, it is returning null. Na? If required is satisfied, it is having a value. So for that you need to define this, right? If I don't give, you see now, suppose similarly we will implement mobile also. Class name is what? Text danger. And here what we do? Errors. Errors dot what? This is which field? Mobile. Mobile dot what? Type. Type is what? Required. If it is required, then put a span saying that mobile required. Mobile required, colon, otherwise put a span empty. What is the second condition? And another condition is what? Errors dot what? Mobile. Mobile dot what? Type. Type is matching with which one? Pattern. If it is pattern error, because we are using pattern for mobile. If it is pattern error, what is the span? In the span we should say that invalid mobile. Otherwise, colon, we have to put the span empty. That is the validation we have. And usually you see it shows error. That means it is saying that cannot read the properties of undefined. Undefined means undefined or null. Undefined means at compile time value is expected, it is not having a value. You will tell that value will not be provided at compile time, value will be provided at runtime. Then how do you tell that initially it is empty, later it will take value? Initially it is nullable. Nullable means what? Expecting value dynamically. This is also nullable, na? Nullable. That means expecting dynamically. Here also we have to keep it as what? Nullable. That means when you are expecting value dynamically, that means it is nullable. Now when you keep it nullable, now it is okay. Otherwise it will get an error. It will say that I am not expecting value. I am not having a value. You have to tell that required, you have to verify when they try to submit some value. Right? Now you click register, then it shows the validation. Now you entered something inside it, name too short, now it is valid. You are entering mobile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you have starting with plus 9, 1, now it is fine. You are not entering anything, name too short, name required. It is going to verify everything. It is same, but it is lightweight, it is little faster when compared to forming. But drawback is you cannot use in class components. You can use only in function components. So this is the hook form library. So here one more point is there. What is the point is, so field name returns undefined as it is expecting validation to fire up at compile time. As it is expecting validation to fire up at compile time, but validation should run at runtime, not at compile time. So to configure runtime validation, you have to make the field as nullable type. So nullable type. So the null reference character is question mark. The null reference character is question mark. So we have to write like this: errors dot field name question mark dot type is equal to error type. Like this you need to configure. So what does it means? Field name Question mark means can be null or have error. It is null or it can have error. This is just another third party. So there are so many third parties available. You can use any third party according to your requirements. I have showed you two third parties. One is Formic, another one is Hookform. You need to try designing forms using this. And here in the console, when I inspect here, so when you are entering some data into this, you entered some data. So, and mobile is required, some 98, some mobile number we are adding, plus 91, then click register, then it submits the data. We are collecting the data and submitting the data. This is a simple example of hook form demo.what.jsx. This is hook form demo.jsx. We have hook form demo. I hope you are clear, right? So we learned two third parties for forms. Actually, we are not sure what companies use. So better to know one, two third parties, and sometimes they may use completely different, but you should be able to explore by yourself. So different third parties how to use, right? Now, once you know this, you have to know another important concept. Now we need to learn about the concept of controlled components. What are controlled components, uncontrolled components important? That we'll see in next session. Okay. Next session, tomorrow we have only doubt session. Okay, tomorrow we have only doubt session. Our regular session will be again on Monday. Tomorrow only doubts, online, offline. If you have doubts, you can attend the session. Tomorrow only doubt session. Complete whatever you learned up to now. In those, whatever doubts are there, we can clarify in tomorrow's session. Okay. Tomorrow doubt session. Again, our next session will be on Monday. Okay. Right. Online people, classroom code has changed. If you were not there in yesterday's class, contact your course admin. He will send you the classroom code.